Hey guys, welcome to On the Beat weekly podcast. On the Beat is all about giving young people a voice. We explore all the interesting topics that affect us in the world today. So come, listen, enjoy, and be inspired.
On the beat, on the beat.
Yeah, y'all, welcome to On the Beat podcast. Alexia is in the house and Brandon is in the house. We are here for another week of topics that on issues that are affecting young people, whether in the positive way or in the negative way. But before we get started, we want to shout out happy belated birthday to Alexia, right? The birthday was yesterday. I'm gonna say how old she was, but she's very old. Don't make the uniqueness fool you. She's old, right?
Very old.
Yeah, very old. Right. So Alexia, no cake. That we're trying to say, no cake.
None for you,
All right.
but plenty for me.
All right. Well, guys, from the celebration of Alexia's birthday to a sad topic we got about to do today, a kind of serious topic, right? A topic that I wrote about last month, and it's the name of the article was A Dangerous Step. And I don't know if how many of you in the audience read about it, but it's about suicide, how it affects young people today, right? So here is the real scene, right? Globally, close to 800,000 people die every year from suicide. That is one person every 40 seconds. One person every 40 seconds is take suicide. That is just mind-blowing by itself, right? Suicide is a topic I really don't like to write about or talk about or read about, but it is necessary to bring societal awareness to one of the leading causes of death in young people. You understand? So it's one of the leading causes of death in young people. I used to think, either natural causes or shooting, obviously, I'm sure is one of the leading causes. Drug use is one of the leading causes, but for suicide to be one of the leading causes in young people is mind-blowing. And I want to ask you guys, why do you think as a young person we want to quit life before it even starts?
Well, for me, and from my experiences, I think that some of the young people, we expected to act like adults, but we are treated like children at the same time. So I think it's basically a conflict between what expectations we have to fulfill, because deep down we know we're still children. We still want to make our parents proud just like any other child.
Yeah.
But sometimes I just feel like we just can't do it. And that I don't know how to say, it does affect your psyche, and it doesn't affect it in a good way. It does feel like you're incapable of doing it. It does feel like you're incompetent, and it does feel like you're barely moving in a way, barely moving forward into your parents' expectation. So I think that is really big shoes to fill when you're coming into this topic with suicide and with young people and stuff. And young people like myself, we just want a break. That is basically us. We're tired of trying and make everybody happy, and at the jeopardy of sacrificing our happiness as well.
Alexia, do you agree with him?
I agree, and I also wanted to add, well, some of what you're saying I wanted to say as well, so I wouldn't reiterate, but I agree. One of the things that I think young people also have a challenge with is how to deal with their emotions, because it's an emotional roller coaster your teenage years, especially the teen years, because you're jumping from being a child and it's like a couple of years transition to being a full-on adult.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, because when you turn 13, which is the first teen year, your parents like, oh my goodness, he is a teen now. And at first, it will just seem like it's just an age. But then they put in more things on you, like, why you're not doing this? You should take up more responsibility. Maybe you should be doing this more often. This is not what you should be doing, and that is not how adults act. And teens just be like, wow, that's a lot. That is a whole lot. And by the time you reach 19, which is the end of teenage, you're supposed to be full on thinking like an adult, acting like an adult, behaving quite mature. And it's kind of difficult because how are you going to behave quite mature if most teens live in the parents' home?
Yeah.
You can't be fully mature unless you're living on your own or experiencing adulthood for yourself. And I think that's most teens suffer with how to deal with the emotions and how to transition in every single part of their life. So maybe that is why this statistic is so high in teens and not so much adults or young, very young children. I mean, very young children wouldn't be thinking about it.
No.
So that could be an next thing too. So that's what I think is probably the emotions and the feelings of the entire thing.
I think being a young person, and when I mean a young person, between the ages of 13 and 30, I think it's the most challenging time as a young person because you are looking to identify who you are. So you're looking for identity, and not sure how to get about it, even though you would hear voices from all parts saying, hey, do this way, do this that way. And there would be a lot of conflict in your heart, in your mind. And what you all said is correct. It will have conflict in pleasing parents. It will have conflict in emotions. It will also have conflict in who I am really, right? And why am I on earth? What am I here to do? And I remember even right up to Form 5, I didn't even know what I am here to do. So it's a real hard task to balance everything off, and the fact of I think rejection has a big part to play in it, where you would feel rejected by your parents, or we feel rejected by a girlfriend or a boyfriend or your friends, right? Even the extension of your family. And I am sure, Alexia and Brandon, you have faced some sort of rejection already. And how did that emotion felt?
Well, me personally, it was for me, pretty short time on Earth. It was one of the hardest things to experience. It was really actually a hard pill to swallow. Yes, I've had relationships here and there. Yes, I've had rejections here and there. But I think like with rejection, like Alexia said, trying and play on what Alexia said. It has to do with the emotions when you get rejected, especially when you feel rejected by people you're not supposed to feel rejected by. Because I had close friends, and eventually that petered out. And I'm talking about like when I say close friends, I mean coming home, spending nights, spending weekends, things. So I think that with all those emotions building up and that trust building up between you and the person, and all of a sudden for it to just come crumbling down is really actually an emotional burden, I should say.
I hear that. I don't think I ever faced a full on rejection, but for as for some
That's such a nice life.
that would
Sorry. That's such a
affect
nice
me.
life. Oh, goodness.
I don't think I ever experienced that, but in my mind, things that will have me thinking like, wow, what is this? Would be so much when people don't listen to me. When I think I'm telling you something like real fruitful, or if I trying to express my feelings towards you and you just say you just kind of ignoring it, pushing it to the side. I could see that as a rejection for me. For me, you're rejecting how I feeling, how I thinking, what I want to do, and do not explain my emotions. Well, how I feeling. But I was saying the main word that will always come up is hurt. Like I feel hurt because you didn't listen to me. Yeah, man.
Yep, we heard you. We heard you. In my article, I have some points on how we might be able to help others, right? So, for instance, we had to have that awareness of knowing what people are going through, right? We had to have that awareness. And in order to have that awareness, we had to have normal conversation with them. We can't come down like how our parents might come down on us. Don't do that. Don't go here. Make sure you come back at this time, that kind of way. That is not normal conversation. That is orders. That is that is commands. Then we should not judge other young people. We should not judge them, right? Because judging them is like placing them in a box and saying that you fail. Judging them is saying that you are a nobody, right? We should not put expectations, our own expectations on them, on young people. So, and then there's another one, we should know how to love them. Also, Alexia now highlighted, we should know how to listen. And the last one, know how to appreciate and motivate, right? So these are some simple points where people can use to engage with young people. I witnessed today a young person in a school, and he was like playing bad boy, railing up, you understand? Saying, you don't know who is me, or he's touch me now, right? And the fact is that this young boy, he may be 16 years, right? Talking to a big man, big teacher, talking to him like if he's a little boy. And I was like, wait, there's total big differences in age here, differences in authority as well, right? And he's disrespecting this man left, right, and center. And unfortunately, the law is kind of handcuffing the teacher from reacting. The most they could do is just send home the person, right? But that is it. And what hurt my heart is to see young people with attitude out there that giving other people attitude, either their peers or older people attitude. And they just don't know how precious life can be if you have a great attitude and you understand where people are trying to help you out and they're not looking to reject you, right? So Brandon, seeing that you understand or you heard the whole story, Alexia just came back in, jumped back in.
Yeah, sorry about that.
How would
Wasn't
you?
Alexia's fault.
I know. It wasn't Alexia's fault. How would you approach that situation as another young person to another young person to young person?
Well, what to say? I think that is really actually a delicate situation because it's even like that young person there have no kind of respect for anybody except himself.
Right.
So really actually I don't think like aggressive approach would be enough, or wouldn't be enough, sir. It would be wise considering that, well, we 16, half of them sure know like big 6'4", 250 pounds going and beat every single person that they come across. So I think that eventually we will have to get somebody. But me personally, I would just try and talk some sense into him. Um, I wouldn't, how to say, it? I wouldn't try to talk him, right, not talk him down, sorry, but I wouldn't try and talk down to him like if I'm better than him because that could be seen as something else as well. I would just try and reason with him one on one, man to man, mano a mano, and just try and let him see from my eyes how it look. Because I think that real like young people now have they take more pride in their image, especially at their teenage years.
Yeah.
So if he realized that, well, right now I'm not looking good at all, then maybe, just maybe, he will change his attitude towards authority, and eventually it will just be down to him. It will be his decision ultimately.
And I hope that things like on the beat hangouts will try to implement these things, right? In giving a different perspective of life onto young people for them to get wiser and more structured and have great attitude towards life and people itself. I have some quotes of the day. Looking at my status, right? All I watch my status, I have to watch my status, right? So first quote of the day, right? Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind always. Alexia, respond to that.
I read that one actually.
Ah!
Again, right? Because I
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
you
We
know,
hear you. We hear you.
right, good, good. So I think, as far as myself, I try to talk to everybody equally, treat everyone the same, and give out positive vibes all the time. So that is why when most people meet me, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, that is a girl. Yeah, I know that girl. You know, I don't know she, but I hear about she, and she's a good person." I find like everybody should carry about that kind of vibes and that energy,
Yeah.
where it is that you're never negative, and even when you are negative, your points make sense and you don't hurt
Constructive.
anybody. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you don't hurt anybody in the process. So just have a natural kind of, I guess, I mean, I can't tell everybody change your personality because I'll be wrong, but at the same time, try to be more positive in everything that you're doing. Though, not everything is a negative thing. If something happened at home that getting you vexed, don't bring it to school. If something
Yeah.
happened in school, don't bring it home.
Yeah.
Don't bring nothing in any way. Certain spaces is for different things. So school should be a light vibes. As should home. The point is just whatever negativity you have, keep it in the space that it originated, basically. And that way, most likely, you wouldn't hurt anybody's feelings or make them feel down about anything really.
All right, cool. Have a next quote. Going to Brandon. Last one. We only live life once, Snoopy. Right? There's Snoopy talking to our dog, basically, right?
Mhm.
So we only live life once, Snoopy. And Snoopy said, wrong. We only die once. We live every day. Respond.
Well, I agree with Snoopy. We die once to live every day. Every day is a new chapter in your life, which means that you make every day what it's what you want it to be.
Mhm.
Even if it was a bad, I don't think that it never has such a thing as a bad day. It just have days that didn't go as according to your plan. Um, and I don't know if people agree with me, but for me personally, I think that I is one of those people who will watch a bad situation and try and find the good in it. So I will give an example. Like recently, one of my friends, he was getting problems with what was it? I think it was the vaccine itself, and he was saying all this bad stuff about the vaccine and how we now I will answer some personal information here. How we were dumb we were stupid and we were incompetent to take the vaccine and do as the government was told. He basically just listed out an entire list of bad names that we call us, and well, I take it. I take it hard. I ain't even gonna lie. But I did try and find the sense in what he was talking about. And well, turning back to every day is what you make it, and positivity and all that kind of stuff. Um, I try and tell him as quickly and as positively as possible that what he's saying I don't agree with. And I just had the biggest smile on my face and I tell him, well, if you don't trust us, then look at the facts. So yearly and truly, I think is what I think from that quote. That's what I take from it. I did read it on the status. Just like, you know.
Even
I did watch the
you in your
status.
status, Brentos.
Yes.
Don't worry
Yeah.
about it.
Hey.
But
Alright.
like Brandon, you sure that's your friend though?
Well, he was with me through thick and thin. He just have different views than me at this point in time.
So that's how your friend is talk all the time. That's not a first time thing. Like
Mm-mm,
that
it's not really.
that's a
I know it.
personality.
I know it is some toxic, yes, but
No. I
yeah.
could be like that sometimes, me.
Yeah, he
Yo.
just have a different way of expressing his disbelief in something, and he's very open
Right.
about it, and that's what I like to be honest.
Understandable. Yeah,
Yeah.
at least he's telling the truth. He don't sugarcoat
Mhm.
nothing. Kudos to him.
Alright. So we want to end this in our biblical perspective, right? So here is this one from Ecclesiastes 7:17. Be not overly wicked, neither be a fool. Why should you die before your time? Suicide is like taking your life before your time and taking your life in your own hands. It's almost like you playing God, you telling God, this is the time, right? I'm not waiting on you to choose the time. I'm taking life into my own hands and I'm going to slit my throat or put a gun to my head or drink Gramazone or just jump in front of a truck or a train, whichever one. And the fact is, and I think this suicide situation is also similar to those young guys or young people who go in these schools and shoot out, just kill everybody and then kill themselves, that kind of way. They just want to go out with a big bang. And from a biblical perspective, we young people think two things. One, we're doing it for attention. Obviously, you ain't gonna know if you're getting that attention when it's dead, right? But you're actually doing it because of attention. You design a certain type of attention from a certain group of people. And you thinking, okay, if they don't want to listen to me, if they don't want to hear, well, axe out. Then they might hear me. Then they might listen to me. But
You
it
see it too.
Exactly. And the next thing too is that God shows no pleasure in someone who takes their life. So it's not like young people might think they are escaping from it, from the problems or the situation and so on, but they actually entering into a whole new hell, right? It's not like you going to heaven because they take your life. You are not going to heaven because they take your life, because right there and then you try to play God, and the main thing is don't try to play God. And now you're going to face a whole new type of hell than you were facing on earth. So it doesn't get better when you take suicide, when you take your life in your own hands, and when you take other people's lives as well. So that is from a biblical perspective. And I remember one time I was thinking about taking suicide, and strangely, I was reading the Bible. I was reading the Bible on the beach. I was trying to get away from a big situation I was facing. And I just went for quiet, calm. And unfortunately, while I was there in my car, my father called me and started to say things that, would drive you up a wall again. And just like that, just hearing voices saying, hey, look, the beach right there. Just go and don't even try to swim, right? And you will hear voices like, you're done in the car already, so just drive as fast as possible and just let go the wheel. Those type of thoughts were in my mind because one, like what Alexia taught, highlights of emotions, can't control emotions. Brandon highlights parents' expectations or pressure, outside pressure, right? Or the situation may be so magnified in your brain or in your perspective that you think you can't handle it. But I'm telling you that any youth out there that you will not be able to handle it, but God could handle it. He is bigger than any situation. He's bigger than any issue, any problem. And right there, I scream, I cried, and I say, hey, Father, hold me, because I already know it makes no sense taking suicide for so-called attention or for so-called trying to escape from this situation. You have to be like Brandon, you have to be like man up and just face it, man up and face it. And I want to highlight to young people out there that suicide is not the answer, and Christ is the answer, to be honest. And people is not the answer neither. That's why if we rely on people, people tend to reject us or disappoint us. And we hear a lot of young people taking Gramazone or taking their life because their mate done with them, right? Their girlfriend or their boyfriend done with them. And it's not, the key thing is to don't rely on people, but rely on Christ. Don't even rely on yourself, because yourself could disappoint yourself. And rely on Christ. And it's not about pushing religion. It's all about pushing that surety that you have a foundation to stand upon. Any last words?
Stay single.
Stay single.
You would not equal to drink Amazon.
But hey, there was something that happened the other day. A youth killed himself, but it was based on family issues.
Well, I can't say none for that. I talk about relationship wise, just stay single. Have less suicide. You wouldn't kill yourself over heartbreak.
Yeah, you're right. Brandon, last thing.
Well, not really actually. I just want to share a quote. I can't remember where I saw it from. I was just going to Instagram, and of course, I see it. So what the quote was saying, if you want to kill yourself, throw yourself in the middle of the ocean. Soon enough, you'll realize that you'll find yourself trying and fight to stay alive. You're not trying to kill yourself. You're trying to kill something inside of you. So just reflect on it, pray to God, and everything will be all right.
Pray to your God.
Yeah, pray to your God.
Yeah, it don't have to be.
Yeah, no, we don't have to be Christ.
Yeah.
We should talk about God one day. We should talk about God. God is a big issue God is a big issue when it comes to young people. The big conflict, right? The big conflict. Anyway, we come to the end of the podcast, and we want to thank Alexia and Brandon again, our co-hosts in On the Beats, right? And guys, very soon we coming to the end of this season, and we hope that this season has been a blessing. But tune in for us next week on The Beats.
Thank you for listening to On the Beat podcast. Feel free to share, follow, and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, and Instagram. Stay blessed, everyone.